thank you for joining me, and I'm happy to have you. I've been someone who has followed you over time on Twitter. I see your tweets and all the time, and I'm so happy to have you on my show today. Now, let's start by defining the knowledge economy. What does it mean in the African context when we say knowledge economy?
African context, that would be hard because Africa has not been doing so well. So I won't want to define it under the context of Africa. Not knowledge economy is about emphasizing much on knowledge, to drive policy, to drive economic development, economic growth, society development, and human development. Has to be based on knowledge. As some of you might know, presently, Africa is not doing so well in research, or let me be more explicit, science research. Most of our problems is, it can be fixed with science, and we don't take science seriously. So if we don't take science seriously, then how can we be talking about, a knowledge driven society or a knowledge driven economy? So that's
okay.
it.
There are those who say Africa has massive data reserves, and yet open data adoption is still very low. What do you think is holding us back?
Oh, like you said, you follow me on Twitter, and one of the recurring theme in everything I talk about is government reforms.
Yeah.
And I'm from the school of thought, that government is the one holding us back. I don't want to believe any other thing outside this point, because we have intelligent, hardworking, people who have built organizations, businesses that are contributing, that they try to contribute within the constraints of weaknesses from our government. Now, the truth of the matter is that there's no developed economy that didn't grow on the strength of their government. And this is something that I find it very hard to understand why we are not emulating what is going on in developed economies. Without a good, caring, capable, strong government, there's no way for us to grow or develop better. So we need government. Government now need to understand that we need data, now knowledge. So we need data where we can extract knowledge to drive, our objectives, or rather their objectives, their mission, their goals. But we are not even using data for, I mean, I don't know what they use data for, so I'm not the right person to talk about it. But look at the situation where, like in Nigeria, nobody, no state, no city has achieved 100% portable water access. None. I mean, a lot of countries have achieved that in the 18th century. Where it's not, I don't even know whether it's an objective, whether it's a mission or what. So the point is, we need the government. There's a lot to show that we don't have good government. And now let me point to one that let me point to that everybody sees, but they never link it up to bad government. One is your overhead tank. Your overhead tank is a sign of bad government. You don't have overhead tanks in developed economies. It's your inefficient water system that has resulted in overhead tank. Secondly, you have private transporters running intra-city. Transportation is a responsibility of government. There's a reason why government should be responsible for water, transport, education, your roads. If you look at it, it has to do with being okay, having access, so that you can do your work and then contribute by paying tax to the system. Then the system now makes the society based on the taxes contributed and create a better society. Secondly, and another major thing that we don't see, and Nigeria has one of one of the best startup ecosystem by this is my opinion. The only problem with them is that they operate in a silo. And why are they operating in a silo? Because there is no national innovation system created by a government. A government has not recognized them enough to even say, oh, how are we going to turn this into, something big that would have effect on our GDP? Nobody in government is thinking. So you see why we need to reform our government, because we need people who will say, oh, these people are still fetching water with buckets. We have to do something. It's responsibility. They are our leaders. They are public officials, public workers, public servants, civil servants. We still don't get it. So government is an impediment for us to, take data, because once we get that data, we have that data culture. There's something we call open data, which is, open data started from open government data. So open government data means government data shared, made available publicly, because taxes are being paid. So the value of those data has already been paid. So the public should have it freely. But the good thing about it is that you are not pushing what government is thinking, the challenges the government is having, some of the things they desire to the public space. People will now contribute. Who are the people that will contribute? From academia, civil society, to industries. So this is a way of saying, oh, we're not the only people trying to solve societal problems. Let's bring in some wisdom from the crowd. So that's how open data is. So now governments in every country in the world, government has the biggest insight on any country. So they have the data that, or they have the data, or what will I say, the inkling of a problem that, if solved, will change, will make an impact in the country. They own it. So if they release it publicly, then you're now creating an opportunity for subject matter experts, for innovators to contribute in what's it called, in improving the economic landscape, by ventures, by innovation, by invention, solving problems. Now, it's not only government that opens data. So we have from academia research data. From academia, then we have the industry data. So if we now look at it, to put it in a way you now understand the value. So we have the societal data coming from somewhere, right? Then you have the industry data, which is the experience with their challenges. Then we have the research data, which is knowledge. Then we have the problem data, which is from government. You will now see that marrying both the government data, the knowledge data, and the experience data will create so much jobs, industry, better society, better economy, and all that.
Now, you noticed recently that in Nigeria, a lot of people are now, I think what happens in Nigeria is we tend to move with the trend. A lot of people are now talking about artificial intelligence in Nigeria now. And it's not like we want to use it to actually develop the country per se. A lot of people are talking about it as the in thing. Young people, it's either they are trying to create videos and all that. But my question on artificial intelligence is, how can it turn Africa's data into actionable insights for better governance and service delivery?
Okay, so first, let's go back to data. You haven't collected your data. Do you have a repository of data? Do you understand that data is sovereign? You don't. Are you protecting your data? Are you harvesting data for a purpose? So if you listen to what I just said about open data, you find out that open data has a purpose. Good. We don't have that purpose. We tried making the Nigerian government embrace open data since 2011. This is 2 years after open data became a thing. Open data was ushered in when Obama became president in 2009. So the first set of countries that embraced open data, UK, US, and some European countries, you can see where they are. Every country that embraced open data is higher up on the AI index. including countries like UAE. UAE embraced open data in 2014. They appointed an AI minister in 2017, if I have the date correct. By 2023, they were the first government to build a language model called Falcon in 2023. I went there. I went to the UAE government then. I was even telling them about knowledge graph. They haven't heard about it. I'm coming from Nigeria. So just imagine if we had embraced open data then, and we have built our language models, we'll be doing knowledge graph way before. Because I've been teaching knowledge graph to our data science, local data science students, courtesy of Data Science Nigeria, led by Bayo, Dekombi, which, he has done so well. But I mean, he can't make that change. The government needs to support it. So this knowledge, we actually have this knowledge. We actually have the knowledge of how we'll do it, but government didn't embrace it. So that means we were not serious trying to be like every other country. So we don't have the data system yet. We don't even have a data culture. So what does that mean? It means that when you don't have it, you use somebody's own. And that's why digital colonization is still affecting us. So the big techs, which is all the social media and the social network systems, are the ones using our data. They're the ones giving you the AI. They're the ones giving you the AI. So when if you are using their AI, I don't think it's something we should celebrate or should be happy about, because they are controlling us. We are still being controlled. You heard about the US aid scandal. It's the same thing. We know how, we all know how, things started it didn't come out of the policy of Nigeria. Let me give you an instance. The startup ecosystem didn't come out from a government policy. It's the civil societies, the NGOs that created that opportunity for them. So whose interest? So that's why we need to own it from day one. So, and that's why I keep talking about open data. I've been there. I was a consultant. We were supposed to build for Ghana. Funny enough, second Obama's regime, then he had that budget impasse with the House. I don't know if you can remember. There was a budget impasse in the House.
Impasse, yes,
now,
I remember.
They were supposed to. Yeah, so they cut off expenses and all that. I was one of those affected because we are supposed to build what we call a linked open, basically a knowledge graph for Ghana. Ghana open data was just starting. Now, that impasse affected the project and eventually got cancelled. I want to believe that it got cancelled because we waited for years and nothing came out. But here is the thing. Because US government didn't pay for it, the Ghanaian government didn't pay. So you see, we are not taking it serious. If you look at the biggest open data we have in Nigeria, is the one that Bill Gates donated to Nigerian government. We have an open, I've forgotten the name of that site, but it's Bill Gates that did that. Kenya was one of the first that started well in open data, but it fizzled. Once the CSOs left the scene, it fizzled. So there's a pattern. We do not have the government. We didn't even have the government that took the third industrial revolution seriously. So it's going to be hard to get a government that will take the fourth industrial revolution seriously. So we still need to go back to the basics, of making data a thing. We are not data friendly here. So the AI that we're doing has nothing to do with sovereign data, not that has to change. And another thing again is that we need to stop looking at AI as a technology thing, rather to look at it from a psychology thing, because it embeds culture, it embeds, our norms, languages, rules. It's not technology, it's psychology. That's how we need to see it.
This conversation has been really interesting, Mr. Emeka, because there are so many things you've said here now that I'm picking up and I'm learning also from. And, sometimes when you talk about we not having a government that has the willingness to do some of these things, it's kind of sad for some of us because it's not helping our society. Now, let's talk a bit about on the balancing of open data and protection of citizens' data. There's this concern about data privacy and security in Nigeria here now. How do we balance open data initiatives with protecting citizens' rights?
Okay, so the reason why the holders of data protection is government is that, at least it is from their organization, it is from that institution, government, that open government data will come out first. Okay, it's always good for government to lead. You understand? Because it does create an agenda for others to join. You understand? Unfortunately, we don't have those kind of people in government, people who can drive policies with open data, drive challenges with this. And so data protection, I think so far so good. Nigerian government has not done badly. I will rather not. In fact, we do more data protection than open data. I mean, which is actually bad. And I'm going to say why. Because it looks like the data protection is more like rent seeking. So it's more like, don't do this, rather than how we can take advantage of this and create better opportunity in the society. The government has not done well in that regard. In fact, they haven't started on how best we can use data, to make the society better. But they've done well so far, not perfectly, but so far on how to protect individuals, privacy and security, with data. So if you look at it from that point, you see that there's no balance. So it's been more of data protection, and little or zero on, how to exploit data to better our society. So there's no where the question of the balance doesn't matter because we have not even started. We need to talk about data. You understand? We need to. The data protection is okay. NDPR, I like NDPR because it was fashioned after the GDPR. I have no problem yet. Because if I keep emphasizing on the problems of NDPR, I'm not talking about us having data culture. It's not a very good way, to grow, prepare the country for things thereafter like AI. So we need more of, I don't even want them to come out. Let me shock you a bit. I think there's a National Open Data Commission. Yeah, it will shock you. And I have a feeling that there's an open data policy. I actually
I've not even heard about the open data policy.
I partook in an open data boot camp, which I tweeted about by the National Open Data, and I wasn't even invited as an open data expert. Here, this is where it gets funny. They gave the whole boot camp to be organized by somebody who has zero. He's my friend. He has zero idea about it. So he now called me and said, "This is what is happening." So that's how I entered. So I wasn't really invited. And tell you what, I came there, I spoke, I demonstrated things. They took down my names, blah, blah, blah. They said I will be participating in other events. They even told me where the next event was going to happen, which was Enugu, because this event happened in Lagos. And that was the last I heard. Oh, yes. It's just so funny. The thing about Nigeria is that subject matter experts are not valued. Knowledge is not valued. It's not a surprise. My last job in Europe, I worked in Land Portal. It's an open data foundation, for Europe in agric, mining, climate change, urban, and forestry.
Yeah.
Good. As we worked in Europe, we were mining data of Africa. We had the whole data of Africa. In fact, we have the whole data in the world. That's what we would, because Europe doesn't see themselves isolated. You see, that's the thinking that we don't have in Nigeria. Europe is not an isolated entity. It has relationships with every continent. So they need to know what every continent has, what they do. You think the global talent war is a new thing? No, they know that you have graduates that you don't exploit. They would rather use it to develop their countries, while you're all thinking about the money that comes that is being sent. That thinking. Nigeria has to change. The only way we can change is for us to raise the quality of government. And the people do not yet understand this. And when we say government, we are talking of both civil service, we are talking of both the presidency, we are talking of a House of Assembly, we are talking of House of Representatives, both federal level and also state levels as well, local government level. There is not even a municipality government in Nigeria, not one. Meanwhile, the things that affect people, the things that have, the schooling, eating, health, movement is a municipality issue. It's not a state issue. It's a municipality issue. So where I live in Europe determines whether I was eat expensively, school expensively, treat myself expensively, move around expensively. It's the municipality government that determines that, So we don't have that here, So it's a problem. So these are all knowledge. You can see everything I've mentioned has to do with knowledge. The government needs to understand that people are not feeding well. Nutrition is an open data thing. So in Europe, nutrition is there. The government will tell you the things that will cause problems in you. Avoid. Like, for instance, sugar. There's a policy on sugar. There's a policy on selling sugar drinks. Don't sell them. Don't put them on shelves. These are the kind of policy. They are open data. Nutritionists outside government will contribute. Academia will contribute to research. We all learn, create new products, create new businesses, create new mission. That's what open data does. The mix of data, intelligence, experience, and challenges bring about new insight, new opportunities, jobs, wealth, and all that. Every developed economy in the world, including China, operates open data.
Mr. Emeka, from your explanation so far,
we can't be talking about our AI without our data. Data is what feeds AI. That data has to be ours under our laws, jurisdiction, under our policies, related to our culture, related to our language, related to our values.
Now, from what you've said so far, we've not even started. Because if we can't get data right, then we can't even, according to you, we can't even start talking about AI and the rest of them. So my final question to you, because of time, is what must we do? You've talked about getting government right, government that understands most of these things we're talking about. What do you think we can do, government, and what else can we do to begin to get it right in terms of knowledge economy, and then transiting into smart cities and the rest of them?
Yeah, let me just tell you this before I answer that question, is that with the way situation is right now, we can import AI, adopt it, and say it's working. Like today now, we are hearing CAC is running AI. My first question is, what laws, what protection, what is the guiding principle of AI coming into government? We haven't seen it yet. And I'm part of the global responsible AI movement. And we have global best practices. I haven't seen any. But anyway, What can we do right? We cannot jump from, we have to, AI will not give us potable water. So we must get back to that government. We need to fix government reform. We do not have the right government that can drive AI. And that's my stance. We can't run away from that. We must reform and transform government.
Emeka, Azuka, Okoye, this conversation will not be over. We'll schedule another day to really have it, because I have learned a lot from what you have said today, and I really appreciate you for coming on the show today. Because of time, I have to run out now, but I thank you so much, Emeka, Azuka, Okoye. He is a knowledge engineer, AI architect, and a leading voice in semantic data and knowledge graphs. Thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me.